Hi, this is Jeff Wimmer from Studio Cycles and StudioCycles.com, and in this YouTube video I want to talk to you about a handful of things that you should look at before you buy a used bike from a giant used fitness equipment warehouse. There are a handful of things that you as a consumer can do and ask about before you make that purchase of a used bike. Here's the thing. Used commercial indoor group cycles never wear out. They're rolled over by clubs every 3 or 4 years and they get new bikes. And there's a ton of companies like myself that buy those used bikes and they resell them. What sets us apart from almost any other company in the world is that when we get bikes back, whether they're a month old or they're 5 years old, they get torn completely apart and we go through the insides of the bikes. And just about every bike we sell, from Star Trek and Schwinn, we do lifetime warranty, lifetime parts replacement. Here's a couple things that you can look at if you're physically able to or perform before you spend your money on the bike. The first thing is, if you look at the bike, obviously you want a bike that looks decent, that's palatable, that doesn't look like it's pulled out of the end of the Santa Monica Pier. But a couple things that you can do. Number one, you can pull the handlebars out of the bike and you can inspect the handlebar tower. You can tell a lot by the tower if it's been cleaned. If there's rust buildup or a lot of crust on it, it means they didn't even bother to take the handlebars out of the bike and clean the internals of the frame. A couple other things that you can do. You can look at the resistance pads on the bikes. Now it's real easy if you're taking the bike completely apart the way we do to put on new resistance pads or a new resistance pad. That's very telling. Another thing you can do is you can inspect the chain. On the Star Treks you can pull that little window out and you can look inside, bring a flashlight, and look at the condition of the chain. If it's black and it's covered in fur and fuzz and the DNA of 1,000 people, that means they didn't do anything to the bike. Now, one of the most favorite terms used by used fitness equipment companies is they say the bike's been cleaned and serviced. Now, if they didn't clean the handlebars, they didn't do anything to the drivetrain, they didn't replace the resistance pad or resistance pads, that's probably a pretty good indicator that the bike's been fluffed and marked way up. The other indicator is the warranty. Like I said, we do lifetime warranties on our bikes. Another thing is the flywheel bearings. They should be replaced. Okay, the bottom bracket bearings, they should be replaced. The condition of the pedals. Most companies don't replace the pedals. We either rebuild pedals and put on rebuilt pedals, or we put brand new pedals on our bikes. Also the saddles, we'll replace the saddles and put brand new saddles on the bikes. There's a lot to these bikes. If you buy your used indoor group cycle or your used Star Trek Spinner Pro or Le Mans Revmaster Pro, and you don't do these things and you base it purely on price, you may end up with $400, $500, $600 coat rack that's just too painful to ride. I've also been seeing a lot of the black Le Mans Revmasters, which is a current generation Le Mans Revmaster. I've seen a lot of these for sale. And in my experience, Le Mans Revmasters, the new black generation bikes that are not taken care of, they have a lot of issues internally. They have issues with the crank, they have issues with the bottom brackets, they have issues with the resistance pad, what's called the spring steel. That's the spring that connects the resistance pad to the frame. We recently just overhauled 55 Le Mans Revmaster Pros at Renaissance Club Sport and Aliso Viejo. Those bikes were not taken care of. They were about 2 years old and they needed thousands of dollars worth of work. Thousands. That bill for that club going completely through those bikes was in the $5,000 to $6,000 range, and they needed so much work. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they weren't very well taken care of. And if you're buying a used bike, chances are it came out of a club where the life's been pounded out of it and they've gotten rid of them to bring in new bikes. We can't morally get bikes, no matter how good they look, and fluff them up and resell them, because we do lifetime warranties on most all of our certified pre-owned bikes. This is a perfect example here. This is a current generation, third generation Star Trek Spinner Pro. The condition that we got these bikes in, I think most used fitness equipment companies would have salivated on these bikes. They would have loved to have gotten these bikes, wiped them down, do the whole we do cleaning and servicing crap, and then sold them, because all the bikes worked, but we tore them completely down to the frame and rebuilt the bikes from the inside out. So be careful buying that used bike. And if at all possible, if you're able to get on the bike and ride it and engage the drivetrain, engage the resistance, check the mobility of the towers and how the saddle goes back and forth, check to make sure that the pop pin handles are all tight so that they're not wobbling and loose. There's so much to these bikes. If I can be of any assistance to you, again, my name's Jeff. I'm the owner of Studio Cycles and the StudioCycles.com stores. We build, tune, service, install 500 plus bikes a month. All we do are spin bikes. And if you want a free consultation, you can call me at 888-909-BIKE or 310-664-1375 or 818-470-2204. And I guarantee you there's no one on the planet that you can call and talk to who owns the company, who I ride and tune every single bike that goes through my company, whether it goes in my store, it goes into a club. Any bike that I'm responsible for, my ass is on the seat, my feet are on the pedals. I test and tune and adjust every single bike in my company. So, for whatever that's worth, if I can be of assistance, give me a shout, talk to me. And best of luck to you on your road to health and fitness.